All right, we are off for a new studio tour in Berlin. This time we are visiting Berlin Sound Department, a truly unique studio tucked inside a large building on Warschauer Straße. Right in the heart of Berlin's vibrant cultural scene, the studio was originally an apartment, and you can really feel it. There's a special atmosphere here with a strong focus on comfort and creativity. Of course, as with any good studio tour, there is plenty of gear to drool over, both for engineers and synth nerds alike. And since we are in Germany, we even get a peek at a very boutique Neumann mic and a vintage synth connected to Kraftwerk's history. If you are here, chances are you love audio gear and spend way too much time browsing Thomann for the best deal. Here's a tip for you: Audio Deals Alert. Audio Deals Alert helps you track Thomann B-Stock deals, those refurbished items that let you grab almost new gear at the best price. Audio Deals Alert sends fast alerts when your favorite gear is available. It doesn't sell your data, it runs through affiliate links and was developed in partnership with Thomann. Big thanks to Audio Deals Alert for supporting the channel and sponsoring this video. I've also put together a list of all the gear featured in this video. These are affiliate links and it really supports the channel if you use them. Oh, and if you'd like your studio to be featured in a tour, don't hesitate to reach out. I'd love to come check it out. Without further ado, let's dive into Berlin Sound Department. Thomas and Stefan are our guides. Enjoy the tour.
Hello, welcome to the headquarters of Berlin Sound Department.
Cool.
Follow. We got two rooms here, the dock to the left and the hub. The hub is connected to the kitchen, very important space for creativity.
Beautiful.
And it's one big room here, connected with the audio equipment. If you want to record acoustic guitars on the couch, we do it there. If you feel the acoustic for your backing vocals is the best next to the herbs, we put a microphone over there. And once that magic happened, this is where the final magic of the sound happens.
So this is your office?
Exactly, my daily and nightly office. We have a beautiful 7.1.4 system here, running with two or actually three sorts of systems. So I have, like, on the floor, I have the Maya Sound HD1 system. As a subwoofer, I have a Genelec 77T, and as tops, I have a Neumann, the KH80 DSP systems, which are very nicely measured to match the quality of the HD1s.
Okay, is it Atmos certified?
It is an Atmos certified room, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I love the panels, the round panels.
Oh yeah, actually my girlfriend built them. She had this vision to build acoustic absorbers, and then she came up with this round shape, and it fits beautifully in this room.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
So what are you doing here exactly? Mixing, mastering?
It's a multi-purpose room, so I do all sorts of things. So starting from whole productions, so vocal productions are very often done here. Sometimes I work in this room with a singer.
So yeah, the artist would be with his mic here. Would do
exactly. Yeah. If you look behind you, there's still like a vocal mic from the last session still up.
What is this mic? It looks quite fancy.
Yeah, it's quite fancy. It's actually a restover from the Berlin Funkhaus. It's a Neumann U69 tube microphone. It's a stereo microphone.
69?
Yeah. It's a pretty rare microphone. Normally they are fat. This one is the tube version, and it has also slightly different capsules than the fat version. So this has the K67 capsules, like the legendary U67 microphone.
Oh, we have to talk about these tiny speakers, right?
Yeah, the tiny speakers actually are not super up to date anymore. They are also pretty old, but I still use them for imitating, like, laptop speakers, MacBook speakers.
Those are your shitty speakers?
That's a kind of shitty speakers. And sometimes, it's really nice if you want to put the vocals in the right position in the mix. So, because they are very present in the heights, and you can see if there are problems with the level of the vocals or not on the small speakers. So the whole system is pretty much measured in. I used for the measurements and for the whole monitor system, this thing is really good for monitoring.
Okay. So the Matrix Studio?
Matrix Studio. I use all the monitoring tools that are built in, and I control it actually from this little box here.
So how does it work? Is it a Dante controller?
It's a Dante controller. It's actually a USB controller, and it emulates the original MOM, which comes from DAD. It's also a monitor controller. You can personalize it. I could also put funny GIFs on it and stuff. So
nice.
It's a gimmick, and it's multi-purpose. So I can easily also go to my iTunes library, dial up some songs, and also control it from here without touching the mouse and going into programs. And there are way more options that are on my future agenda to program. I have also connected a native HD system still. Right now in this scenario, I'm using it to feed my summing amp, which is a thermionic culture summing mixer with very basic control on off.
And what does it do? It is for the color of the tubes and the saturation, etc.
It gives a lot of color and a lot of character, and for me it gives also a certain kind of openness for the sound. So it opens up the whole sound field in the stereo. And I don't know any plugin that would do the same for me. So especially for rock productions and for rock sound mixing, it's very, very helpful to have a little bit of grit and saturation on top. This is straightly going to the Burl B2 converter, and I can also insert some hardware stuff that is here, and also I have some more in the warehouse that I can switch if I need something, but this is my daily emergency outfit here. Let's say it like this, or setup. Yeah.
Nice. What else do you got on the right side on this rack?
On the right side, it starts with a really, really interesting gear that came up a few weeks actually to me, and I'm super fascinated by the sound of it. It's actually a tube preamp, also from Thermionic Culture. But this one is modded by a very good friend and audio nerd, Guido Abke. He also overworks the signal floor inside. So this whole thing is a hand-wired box, and it sounds brilliant. So it sounds brilliant on every microphone that you put in. It gives a certain kind of coloration, and also it turns the sound in something that you don't have to EQ so much. If you have the fitting microphone for the situation, this thing brings it into a mix automatically. So I love it.
Interesting.
A similar thing is the box from TubeTech that I use for mostly reamping stuff, or of course vocal productions or instrumental recordings. Then we have here a kind of shelf with all kind of older and newer boxes that I can turn on. For example, this old Yamaha is the predecessor of the SPX 90. Mm-hmm. You might know it from lots of live mixing racks, especially in the 2000s and earlier. It has really, really cool vocal effects that I still love, and they sound a little bit more lo-fi than nowadays standard, but still in the mix very nicely integrated. And also they have a very nice chorus effect inside. Next, we have a Harrison channel strip that also came a few months to me, and I love it. It's really, you can see the gain is very high. I use it in a very high saturation state. It gives a kind of grit to the recording that is unique in its way, I would say. Culture Vulture is a kind of saturation box that I also sometimes use on vocals, on drums sometimes. And we have an old, I cannot give this away, I still hang with this guy together. It's an old Model 200 Lexicon reverb that has a very lush reverb, comparable to the 480, but a little bit more gritty. And I use it on every old school rock production.
Okay. Why having a digital reverb out of the box? Don't you get what you want in the box?
It has still a unique sound. The converters are not replicated 100% by now. And in the addition of many reverbs and signals, you will hear a difference. Especially if you like to aim a kind of 80s old school sound.
Okay, I see.
So we can go on. There's a little bit still here on this rack side. We have.
So you like this brand, right?
I really like this brand. Yeah. They got me. They have a very distinct but subtle saturation type that I kind of like in my sound. So we have the Phoenix that I use very, very often on percussive signals, and I love it on a kick. It's really, really nice. Again, an old school Lexicon PCM 70. Then I have, mostly for guitars, I use a Roland.
And when you are using those digital reverb out of the box, are you driving them a bit hard, or are you gain staging?
Gain staging is important. So sometimes I have to also, or mostly I also alter the input signal. So the signal that I send to the gear is never the original that I send to the mix. So I have all sorts of EQs, saturation sometimes. Sometimes I send it very low-fi to get a subtle effect or a special effect on it. And this I can also show you. If you look around here, there's a kind of mojo box that I use mostly in front of any kind of reverb or delay that I use. This gives the reverb signal a very gritty and also a little bit lo-fi sound that integrates mostly in my mixes very well.
Interesting. That's a tape emulator?
It's a tape emulator, yeah. It's actually very interesting because it's passive. It doesn't have any power. And it doesn't degrade the sound so much. You can go lo-fi, but it's not an aggressive box, I would say. It's still subtle, but it gives a special sound that I don't know from any plugin so far. I have one more thing. This is my absolutely beloved delay that I use for almost every production. It's not important what kind of genre. You can use it
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So it's a kind of digital delay. I think it's made in France. They use very old converters. I think it's a 12-bit converter, something like this, 10 or 12-bit converters in this. Very gritty sounding converters in this. And also the reverbs and the combination of reverb and delay is super versatile. So you can go in all sorts of space echo and space delay effects, but also you can run it as a huge, or mostly infinity reverb. So as an effect machine, genius. And it's tappable, so you can tap the tempo easily. You can perform it. I also use it for live performances. If I go and do a front of house gig, it's like an instrument.
Okay, interesting. Should we talk about Atmos? How often are you mixing Dolby Atmos?
Dolby Atmos actually became more and more asked for in the last years, I would say. Funny fact that I had the vision to do really heavy music in Atmos, extreme metal projects, and I approached to some bands. And the first reaction always was, it's wow, this is a super format for it. It translates super well. It's accessible and powerful, and emotionally pulling the listener way more in than a stereo.
And what are the challenges when you are mixing it?
Actually, challenges for me are like to have to translate actually the musical intentions into a sound field, which means just like doing effect sounds that are like running through the room doesn't make so much sense. If there is a musical approach to it, if you have like a phrase that is like benefiting out of this, or like a musical or like an instrument that is benefiting from traveling through the room or moving at all, then it makes absolutely sense, and it has to fit into the whole arrangement too. So.
Okay. And what are the basics of Atmos mixing? Like, what are the most basic tools that are you using the most? Is it placement, EQ?
Actually, it's placement. First, I start with placement. There are like different projects. So the projects that I like the most actually are my own productions with artists, where we start mostly with Atmos first, which gives me way more freedom, and we can already in the writing process like determine stuff, and we have already ideas where to put stuff. That's like the best case. The worst case is also very common actually, that people are sending stems and then you have to do something with it. In both cases, I work mostly with placement. Also, placement changes a lot of the timbre of the sound, so you have to go with an equalizer. And also, since you have a different vision how to master the stuff, or sometimes it's not even mastered, you have to work with saturation. You have to some kind of work with dynamic tools, but always in a very subtle way.
And you say you are doing a lot of extreme metal music.
Mm-hmm.
In this genre, it can be quite loud, quite dense.
Yeah.
How isn't it odd to get that density in the Atmos mix?
Actually, it benefits way more than in the stereo, in my opinion. You have the possibility to put stuff on the side, sometimes in the back also. It can be a little bit weird, and it can create a very weird and also dangerous mood if you want. But in general, it puts you into the music, into the field, into the music field, and creates a completely different listening experience.
Nice.
Welcome to my part.
Thanks. So what is this place? Is it originally a flat? An office?
Yes,
what was it?
It was initially, before we took over, it was a photo studio. So there was a guy doing photo shoots in here, and they did even art and light installations in here. And then we took over with the initial idea to live here and have one big studio room. So I moved in here with a very close friend of mine. His name is Ojon Lade. He's an Afro House DJ legend, has his own music label, Yoruba Records. And so our idea was to take this over and have one big studio here. Then, unfortunately, he had to take care of his mom in the States. We took that space and had Klaus Fischer. He is the inventor of digital sampling, and he invented the very first digital sampler in the world. The Audios, they used it, for example, for the Star Wars sound effects on the spaceships in the 70s as well. And he was then developing the Audios number 2 in there. And so already still we were living here as well. So I got one sleeping room as well. He used it as a sleeping room and as a research ground. But then Thomas took over, and it was very clear from the very beginning, since we worked together very closely on productions and share opinions. Hey, can you take a listen to this mix I did? Can you give him feedback on that? So it was very clear from the very beginning, we do this together, and we finally give birth to the Berlin sound department. So that is basically, I still have my sleeping room here, but that's the only privacy I have, and the rest is for working.
Okay, so what's the idea here? Like, what's the principle? It's quite unusual. The kitchen is just there, there's a window, and we are wearing
Slippers.
Slippers, right?
So our idea is, and this happened from the very beginning, to not have this run as a big studio, room-in-room constructions, and it's got this typical studio feel where everyone, when you hit the record button, usually there is this one moment where you go like, I'm recording. We had from the very beginning artists coming in here, and they felt very comfortable. They felt like home. And we like this to be a home for your creative ideas. And this is why we still have slippers. Some artists, they have their own little space during production, knowing, okay, they can put their shoes, they can put other stuff, they need to feel home. And that's the idea behind it, basically.
Okay.
And this room is the big creative room. When mixing, yes, of course, you need a very good acoustic environment, but I'm rarely mixing in here. This is where all the writing is happening. So we focus on sound design a lot in this environment and on, writing the music and setting the notes. When you're creatively working, you don't want to be probably in front of the microphone all the time. You feel like, and so sometimes you just sit here, get a coffee, start chit-chatting, and then you have the idea. And usually this is when I say, don't move. I just get the microphones, you just sit here, have your coffee here as if nothing happens, and we are creative, So
nice.
That's what we chase here. That moment of forgetting you're in a studio and just letting the juices flow, basically,
Okay.
And nevertheless, the good thing or the amazing thing is, except for the floor and the ceiling, there are no parallel surfaces in here. So all we did was just treat in the height of the head. The kitchen part on purpose we kept untreated. So what I love doing, for example, when we record vocals here, you see some special spots we even treated acoustically on the ceiling. And behind you will see acoustic walls. So these are absorption walls, and they are movable. Okay. So what we do is, as I mentioned earlier, I worked for the Abbey Road Studios, and I like that approach. So if something is to sound in the second row, like a backing vocal, I don't put more reverb on it later. I record it with a bigger distance, and we shape with the absorption, and we treat the room the way we need it, and then we set up the microphone, basically.
Okay, I see.
So something that can happen is this spot here. We might set up a corner, a dry corner, to record the vocal. But I found out in the kitchen where the herbs are, this is my special place for room reverberation. So I usually somewhere here set up an omnidirectional microphone, and just to cover the reflections. And usually when you then do delay that signal, so it's like a 16th on grid or an 8th note on grid. Usually you get a result that is far off of any tape echo that you can create. Yeah. So that's the whole idea behind it, basically.
Are there any instruments or gear that you're really fond of here?
The two special and rare pieces of equipment you see here is definitely the Audios and the Musicoder. The Audios, as I mentioned, is the very first digital sampler on the market in the world. There were only 50 built, and 1979 only 40 were sold. So in the last couple of years, Klaus refurbished the last 10 that have been broken, and so they're on the market now as well. And you see here the Musicoder. Peter Leunitz was a friend of Klaus Fischer here, and he invented the Kraftwerk vocoder. So you know the Kraftwerk Autobahn vocoder, and it was only one made.
This instrument, this gear? It's the Musicoder?
The Musicoder.
Oh, nice.
And so he built only one prototype, brought it to Kraftwerk, to the production space, and they did Autobahn with it, and then it broke. And to my knowledge, it's broke ever since.
Yeah.
But the equipment and the invention was there. And a couple of years later, Peter said, okay, you know what, let's do 60 units. Nice. And so of that initial Kraftwerk vocoder, 60 units were made called the Musicoder, and one of them is here. And nice. I don't know of any other studio that has the combination of both. And I use them a lot.
What's the use of a sampler?
don't see it like an MPC 60 sampler.
Yeah.
It's not there to have stored 10 different drum sounds and just sample them. It's more like take a vinyl and have one loop going on. And now imagine that loop not being on a vinyl but on a USB stick. So it's digital storage, but there's no CPU inside. And I can take the writing head, the reading head, the storage itself, and change any parameter. So what I do a lot is, of course, for micro pitching, left channel a little up, right channel a little down, but in combination with up to 800 milliseconds of memory length, I can use it to build reflections as well. Because by just pitching down slightly, it'll play the sound a little later, and with the memory length, I can really set walls.
Okay.
That's what I use it for. I got a modification here from Klaus where I can play the pitch function with the keyboard. So I do and via MIDI. So I do use it as a harmonizer as well. And the sound is. I mean, it was on Star Wars. It was on. We found out, Klaus and me, we did a research, and it's now on about 800 million copies of records in total since the 80s. So it is the cinema sound. You will only find out when you hear it. I know this.
Okay. Okay.
I use it as a delay, yes, but the most powerful function is the hold button. You will have a set threshold, and once, for example, a vocal oversteps the threshold, only then you will write into the storage.
Okay.
And it'll repeat what's in the storage until the threshold is stepped over again, and you can get what's up, I am, I go again, and all of these crazy sounds. Have them go backwards, and you have crazy vocal effects, for example.
Okay.
You keep asking your questions, but we should be dancing.
Live in the moment. Your head's your apart. Whoa. You are the answer. You are the answer. You are the
Wow.
You keep asking
Impressive.
question.
And the musicoder, yes, it's a vocoder, but the vocoder itself, when you think of the Roland vocoder, you got a keyboard, a synthesizer, and you got a microphone. Now this is as pure as only the modulation matrix as it gets. It has nothing. It has only input for carrier and for modulator. And whatever I run through it, for example, drums, I use drums a lot to give rhythmical patterns into pads. So my carrier might be a pad, and I'll send in drums, for example.
Nice.
So I use it far off from the usual vocoder.
Okay, I see.
Another gem I have here is ElectroComp 101. There have been, I think, 900 built, and by now 600, 700 should be living still. It's from the era of the ARP 2600 and of the Minimoog, but it uses op-amps entirely, and so the sound is completely different. You see here the mixer section for the three oscillators, and if you put it to, I measured it even once with the oscillator. If you put it with the oscilloscope, if you put it to 12 o'clock, the amps, that's like where it's still neutral. And then up to almost 6 o'clock, I have pure saturation.
Okay.
It's a pure joy. And not only here for every oscillator, but then the summing amp as well. It's a beast.
Okay, nice.
So the ElectroComp 101 is a very interesting creature. It has never been designed and initially built to be played on stage, but only for education on universities. So that with this tool, how a synthesizer works can be taught. It's completely different to what you find on the market. Usually you find 1 volt per octave. So you control the frequency of the oscillator, like 1 volt is a C, 2 volt is a C. The next octave, 3 volt, the next. Now, the ElectroComp uses pi. So you use pi per octave. For example, 3.14 volts, 6.28, 9.42. It's strange. So what I had to do in order to control it with the computer, with the usual gear you get today, is I had to solder my own amplifier. All this amplifier does, it gets 1 volt per octave and multiplies it by pi. That's all it does. And so now I can switch my cable, and still the ElectroComp will think it's his own keyboard. But actually with this cable I control it entirely with the computer.
Okay.
Now why is that important? It allows certain functions, whatsoever, only if you control it with your own keyboard.
Okay.
And so this is why I had to do it. So how does it sound like?
Fat.
How fat it is. Wait. There we go. Anything.
Beautiful.
Just hit the string, just hit the key, and you need to get the bass face. Then, talking about the Model D, that's a mini Moog, a micro Moog. I'm sorry, it's just 1 oscillator and 1 sub oscillator. I love the Yamaha PSR 36. It's wavetable, but it's crappy, gritty wavetable. You know, it does not sound posh at all. ESQ, the very first synthesizer with a built-in sequencer. So it was used a lot in the 80s for all those flashy, typical 80s TV series. So it's as 80s as the Juno 106, for example. And I love using both together. Is the drum section syncussion I soldered myself. It's the mod where you even can play the pitch with the keyboard. So I use it for bass lines as well. Siemens drums, the Pearl DRX as well for drums. And since we focus a lot on writing here, this is the newest toy, we found out actually, why should you only improvise jazz or pop rock music and then from this improvisation find new ideas? And I'm mostly focused on sound design for companies and on DJ music, so I'm mostly in the electronic sector, and so I realized, why shouldn't we even jam electronic music? And you know, you got a vocalist here, and you know, this vocalist needs an album that works in the club. So why not have the vocalist, the artist, bring some friends over, we do a little cooking, everyone feels home, they have 2-3 beers, get into club joy, you know, club mood, and then we start playing. And I record everything, no computer. I want to be able to, within 30 seconds, just, I love the computer, but sometimes it's like the brake of gas, you know, sometimes it takes out.
It can be in the way.
Tempo. Absolutely. And especially for creativity, I found out creativity does not ask you about the timer. So sometimes you wake up 2 a.m. and you know, I have to do this now, you know, and sometimes creativity says, we need to do this now. I don't care if you are, where you are, what you do. And so this was important for me to have a setup within 20 seconds I can go for record. And you know, we record it all, then I put it onto the computer, we go through the jam, this is a nice part, this is a nice part, oh yeah, get some other lyrics on that part, and then I listen to it, reprogram it, and then we do the production. So this is important as well.
Nice.
And it would be amazing to see you guys here, either mixing, mastering, or do a remix. Let us know. You find us as well on Sound Better. And you find us on berlinsounddepartment.com and contact us. We're very happy to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
See you soon.